everyone's favourite subject, the web. You will eat the bugs and you will be happy.
You'll suck my dick and you'll be happy.
Have this injection. Have your money inflated away from you and own nothing and be happy.
You will dress as a pig and snuffle up my shit. Happy.
You will be put back into into serfdom and you will be happy.
You will sell your firstborn for a pizza and be happy.
Into the international paedophile ring and be happy.
Disclaimer, no children are hurt in the making of this pizza video. Okay, welcome to season 2, episode 1 of the 4Bs, the most bullish Bitcoin banter and bullshit podcast out there. And today I will be the host. I am Mr. All-In, aka the $1 trillion man. I always turn up. I'm all in. And then we normally have our normal host, Sir Neverlook, aka the excellence in execution, who has hugely failed to execute his diary today and has worked late and now can't get onto the pod. Also missing, we have Dr. 10%, aka the people's champ. Where is he for the people? He's gone missing. He's on holiday. What kind of excuse is that? Bitcoin doesn't go on holiday. And we have Mrs. No Show, obviously living up to her name, obviously not here, obviously not showing up. But what we do have is a special guest. He is young MBA, aka the stupid one out of 4, the Bitcoin bros. And he's here. Welcome to the show. You saved the pod. I was gonna have to do this on my own otherwise, which I was actually quite up for. I was gonna actually just do it on my own, but I knew you were coming, so I didn't have to do it.
Yeah, I always say thanks for having me back. I thought I'd come back for the first anniversary, and unfortunately, season 2 hasn't started off with the bang it finished with.
It is gonna go with a bang. It's gonna be a great show.
I hope this. Yeah, this is going to be a quality one. However, I've got to say, is it because we're in a sideways movement with the Bitcoin price? Is Sir Neverlook started to look? Has Dr. Evil 10% got nervous as he started to sell? These are the queries that are on Twitter, all over Twitter.
This shot's fired. This is big. This is breaking news.
Massive. Yeah.
Maybe they're out. Maybe they've gone full shitcoin. Maybe they're no coiners now.
I heard that Sir Neverlook is been revising and working on some development within the meta.
The meta of the verse.
Yeah.
Well, that's a one strike and you're gone. If you even. No, actually, I think he did say he's going to have a look, didn't he? I think it looks fine, but don't come shitting that shit on this pod.
Shield that shit. I love it. So yeah, so it's good. I'm happy to be back. I think I was on pod 3, pod 33, then pod 53. There's got to be a 3 in it.
Yeah. Well, it's season 2, episode 1. So add them together, you get 3.
No, that's it. I like it. Yeah, that's perfect. Keep them with the 3s.
It's like star signs. You can make everything work if you just think hard enough.
Yeah.
Everything was right in your stars, provided you just have some creative thinking. But yeah, my first story of this week is went to the barber today, got my haircut, and he was on the phone literally during my haircut. He was on the phone to his credit card processor, and he was really annoyed with them because he just changed. Some sales guy had come in and gone, go onto this new payment app or payment processor, and essentially enables faster payments, which essentially all it really means is as people pay, he gets the money straight away. He gets it's like next day. At the moment, he's not on faster payments. They kind of hold his money for weeks until he gets it. And as a small business, like cash flow is super important. And he just wants his money when he gets paid it. He doesn't have to wait weeks. And essentially, this sales guy had come in and promised him he could be on faster payments, but he was through to their support, which essentially was saying he'd been declined to be accepted for this. So we can't tell you why, but you've been declined. So now he's paying more for a payment processor that doesn't do the extra feature that his old one did. And he was ranting and raving. And so my haircut took about an hour and 20 minutes today. I was fine with it because I was just like, look, I'm chill. And when he finally finished, which ended with him basically going, I'm cancelling this contract and going back to my old one. I can't believe I've wasted this much time. I went, do you want me I can pay in Bitcoin if you want. Just skip these payment processes. I'll just pay you in Bitcoin. I can pay you on Lightning. You'll get it instantly, not even next day. Like I'll pay on the main chain and you'll have to pay fees. But probably no more than the 2% fee you're going to pay anyway when I pay for this haircut. And he kind of just laughed and went, yeah, I couldn't I? I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like I could pay literally today in Bitcoin. And you should be the first barber in this city that accepts Bitcoin. Like it's a thing. It's a gimmick. It will get people in, even if they don't end up paying in Bitcoin, just do it. But he was having none of it. He was like, oh, what? I need it to go into my bank account. That's when my taxes get paid. That's why I get audited. There's a load of problems with it. And it just reminded me, and I started telling him about Strike, that we had a story about this either last week or it's the big story that came out of Bitcoin 2022 in Miami, where Jack Mallers launched that, he partnered with one of the payment processors where you could pay in Bitcoin, and then the retailer on the other end can receive whatever currency they want. So they can accept Bitcoin and receive Bitcoin at the end, or if they want to receive US dollars, pounds, euros, whatever you want. And about a third of America can now do that. You can sign up to being part of that Strike program. And I just told him about it. It's like, it's not here yet. And that's the problem. It's not here yet. So he couldn't go, oh, I'll move to that then, because that's obviously instant settlement. And zero fees as well on Strike, not his 2% that he's getting charged anyway, and also having to wait weeks. As for, it's just another example of where, it's Bitcoin in the wild. It's a real life issue that I saw, literally small business really struggling just to accept money and get the money he's owed, because it's the old legacy financial system. It's just set up to pretty much just work for the banks as opposed to working for a small barber, in a city. I thought it was.
It's quality that. So the use case that you've picked out there is sweet, and this is the problem with the modern sort of trader, if you like, that like he could be onto something sweet if he was to pick up on that, but it's a bit of a dumb call. Like, how am I going to pay my taxes? Like, what if you paid him 20 quid in cash? Same thing, isn't it? You just transfer it out if he wants from Bitcoin across, so that he's still getting that transaction fee off you. And do you know what this smells of to me? Like, I just had a bit of a deja vu when you're talking about Strike in the US. Remember Offer 47?
Yeah.
So Groupon was the thing that we'd seen. In one state in America. Was it even called Groupon? I think it might have been something else. But it was, the theory was like, you buy things in bulk and get a sale price and everyone wins. It's like a no loser. We tried to get it into Chester, didn't we? And no one was really having any of it. People that we spoke about had none of it. Groupon's now worldwide, and just as we were launching, it came into the UK, didn't it? And went through. And it's going to be the same as Strike, isn't it? Like, there was literally, he could jump on that now, be the first one. It would be difficult because a lot of people wouldn't have a wallet, would they? A lot of them wouldn't have Lightning.
Yeah, but it doesn't, that's the thing. It wouldn't matter, would it? Because Strike enables you just to accept everything you had before plus Bitcoin.
Oh, see, yeah. Oh, so could he get? Oh, so he can't get Strike yet, can he? Of course, because it's not.
That's the problem. That's the problem right now. He'd just have to fire up his own wallet. I just send it to your wallet and then send it from there to your business account.
Could be simple, wouldn't it? You could literally just say, have a thing on the window, we accept Bitcoin.
Yeah, you can. The stickers, I freaking buy him the sticker, but he at the time, I could just see in his head, he was just stressed that he was falling out of a payment process at the time where he was like, I might not be able to accept money at all right now. So adding Bitcoin on is just not, it was not in his mindset. He was stressed, going, oh my God, I don't even know if your payment's going to go through for pounds right now. Never mind, can I accept Bitcoin? But yeah, it's right there. So there's so many people obviously suffering for the same thing. And unless you're a big retailer that's putting through millions every year, you get treated like dirt by these guys. I was literally listening to the call, and he asked to speak to a supervisor numerous times, and they just fobbed him off and went, look, there's nothing they can tell you that I can't. It's being declined, and that's it. So
it literally will be that he hasn't put enough money in, won't it?
Probably.
It won't be a higher flyer. They're not interested. But if they're paying 2%, that's quite insane, isn't it? 2% plus 20% on the tax.
On every single card transaction you ever do, online or in store, the payment processor behind the scenes is taking 2 to 3%. Every single one. And that it's an unknown kind of unseen tax that everyone pays that you don't really realize. And fundamentally, they're just, back in the day, that was probably justified, because how would you pay someone across the world if this payment network didn't exist? So yeah, great, it's 2%. Okay, 50 years ago, I think it's in the 1940s they invented it. Yeah, that's a great value for money. 80 years ago, paying 2% so I can send money from one side of the world to another, that is a bargain. But 80 years later, it is not a bargain anymore. Why are the fees still the same? Yeah, this technology is everywhere now. It's just that a few people have got essentially a monopoly on how you can accept and send and receive payments. And so these companies just sit in the middle taking this 2% tax, and haven't upgraded their software, made it any better. I just saw firsthand Jack Mallers, who's about 25 years old, has invented a better payment network than these guys have. And because they got no reason to innovate, because they got a captured market. So they just go, these are the rules. Either play by the rules or don't accept money from a card. And obviously that isn't an option. So
do you reckon that once Strike and Lightning become more mainstream, the 2% might fall away with the banks trying to fire back?
Yeah, it'll have to. But the thing is, it's not the banks, this one. So the payment processors, they are very closely aligned to the banks, but they are separate companies like Swift and Visa. Right. And these guys are called Global Payments. But the problem is they know full well the second they budge on that 2%, the only way is down. Eventually it gets to zero. And they have no other way of making money, because all they do is move money from point A to point B. They barely even do that, actually. They don't even move money. They just kind of go, oh, someone's made a payment, like change some noughts and ones around behind the scenes. But hold on. We've got Dr. 10% here. We might have a late entrant.
No way.
Is Dr. 10% coming in?
Dr. Evil. Maybe he's just getting his 5 minutes of pleasure with the missus gone to the bathroom.
We'll give him a minute. What the heck? He literally said he was waiting to join, and then he hasn't appeared. I think he might have clicked the link.
I have clicked the link. I'm here.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah, we can't see you.
Yeah, I just kind of went. Donnell said it in passing. I was like, "Have you rearranged the pod for tonight?"
Yeah. Oh, we're on now. We're recording.
Oh, wow.
I thought you were on holiday, man.
No, I was on holiday a couple of weeks ago. And where's Donnell tonight?
He was working late, so he can't get back in time.
Working late? He was at the races. He's out on the Raz.
Oh, that's where he is then.
Right, give me a minute. I'll be to my laptop.
All right. Come back in a minute then. All right, then we do have Dr. 10%. All right, well, we'll carry on whilst he gets his laptop all sorted out. So did you see the next one, the Joe Rogan guest?
I did. Yes.
What do you think?
Just trying to recall this one.
Okay, I'll remind you. So basically,
no, I did a little.
It's an interview with Joe Rogan. So there's a guy on the show, and Michael Saders shared the link, and I'm not actually sure who the guy is, but he went to the Miami 2022 conference, and he's just going, I didn't really know about this Bitcoin thing, but I didn't think it was for people like me. I don't know finance. I don't know the economy. But I just love what people were talking about. This is about taking control of your money and creating generational wealth. He's like, I don't have generational wealth. I never thought it was even going to be possible. With this Bitcoin thing, that actually gives me the potential to be able to earn money and literally pass it down from generation to generation. And it kind of blew his mind. And he said, I'm now super passionate about this. And I'm more excited about this than I've been for anything for a long time. I just never thought, because obviously he knew about Bitcoin, he's heard about it, but he never actually really heard about it. He was never educated about the fact that sound money isn't just a get rich quick scheme. And then Joe goes on right at the end of the clip to go, he thinks that the government are looking at Bitcoin a little bit like the internet in its early days, where, you know, having
that's what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, having free access to information. I did change the clip actually, sorry. So I'll probably change the clip on you. But the end of the clip is about him saying, yeah, the government are treating Bitcoin like it's the internet. And in the early days, they were really scared and wanted to regulate it heavily. And in the end, kind of just let it go. And then bizarrely, though, behind the scenes, it took them 20 years. But now we're seeing all the censorship hit Bitcoin, while hit the internet. Whereas in Bitcoin land, it's like the internet in the early days, where it's just kind of a wild west. They're trying to regulate it. Fundamentally, they just need to step out of the way. And the big thing that I'm worried about is, what is the version of fact checkers for Bitcoin that is now hit the internet? Because they didn't regulate the internet from above. That got declined. We wanted a free internet. Whereas so they ended up doing it round the back. They waited for the big players to rise up, then they regulated them. So Facebook, Google, Amazon, Apple, Google, they're now in the back pocket of the US government, and they censor from that way with no regulation, just behind the scenes. So what are they going to do in Bitcoin? They're going to go for the big Bitcoin companies, aren't they? And try and pressure them to regulate Bitcoin from them. And the thing is, Bitcoin's decentralized, so it's not going to have much effect, but they could start making Coinbase do something. Or...
I was going to say, but that's only impossible whilst you've got fiat, because as soon as you take the fiat system out and you're just transacting in Bitcoin, you will never need to go via an exchange per se, would you? So you would just be literally passing it between Lightning, and there's no, well, I suppose someone owns Lightning, someone owns Strike, so you probably could get them that way, but it will be more difficult than it would be with Coinbase. But interestingly, you know what you said about that guy that's got no financial sort of brain cells, as he alluded to. He clearly does, because generational wealth, the way you spoke about him, sounds pretty switched on to me.
Yeah,
he's actually a bit cleverer than he thinks.
Yeah, well, this is what can happen. You know, this is what happens when someone gets orange pilled, because you think, you know, you're not going to get Bitcoin unless you're a developer or an investor or some kind of super brain, or you're a retard and you're just going YOLO and gambling on random stuff. But he's actually gone to a conference. He's listened to some talks with some proper good Bitcoiners. And he's just gone, oh, it's a new form of money, separating money from state. They look at the history of money. This happens every 100 years. The form of money changes. Every 500, we have a catastrophic kind of change where the entire monetary system fails and a new one pops up. We're about 500 years now. We've gone from gold, fiat's had its time. Now it's Bitcoin. He's going, oh, that's all it is, really. I just need to start stacking some sats and figure out how to secure my wealth. And on his point, he's asked some questions and gone, yeah, you just need a ledger, mate. And you got 24 words. He's gone, is that it? Like, where do I need a PhD? Like what? He's like, no, Bitcoin's actually very simple once you get it. Once that the switch is flipped, Bitcoin's very simple. And it's just most people...
It's no longer magical internet money.
That's right.
Yeah, so your internet signal's a bit scratchy there, Dr. 10%. You still on holiday?
Oh.
You got your mic plugged in?
Yeah, I have done. Actually, 1 minute. Let's have a quick check. See where...
What is this? It's a shambles.
I was going to say, he's like one of those annoying kids that turn up to a lecture late and then starts ruffling around at the front of the desk, then opens up a packet of crisps, and then starts eating an apple. And I'm like...
But then I'm bringing all the insightful comments.
That's very true. That's true. Yeah, you heckled the lecturer.
Jesus, we're on season 2, and I can't remember one yet. So,
yeah. It should work.
23 said something funny once.
Oh, look who's Billy Big Balls today.
Here we are. This is the pod we wanted.
I don't even know what story we're on.
Number 2. Yeah, I think your internet started to firm up a little bit now. It's been stupid.
Yeah, God knows why it's playing up.
The missus will be streaming hardcore porn downstairs.
men in Batman.
As long as it's scat, everything's fine. It wasn't even a proper 4Bs, was it? It would have been a Bitcoin Bros until I turned up.
That's right. It was Bitcoin Bros did 4Bs. Like Debbie does Dallas.
But less sexy.
All about the incest.
All right then. So do you want to move on to story 3? Get the train back on the tracks. And so I put a story in here saying that Tesla says Bitcoin is an alternative to cash. So I just put it in. It's a little bit of a only a small sliver of a story, really. It doesn't undo the damage did by Tesla about a year ago now, where they said that Bitcoin's bad for the environment. But these filings that they put into the SEC, it's not just a tweet, it's just not a comment from Elon where he's just memeing on Twitter. They've actually put in an SEC filing where they've reconfirmed that they haven't sold any Bitcoin. And they've said the reason why we are holding Bitcoin is it's a liquid alternative to cash. So that's a massive endorsement for Bitcoin, because essentially that's, we're not trying to be anything amazing. It's just, we're just a different form of money. That's all it is. But at the moment, we're not recognized as that. We're not recognized as another form of cash, another form of money. We are seen as an investment vehicle where you put your money in. It's more like a stock. And Tesla have correctly here gone, we're not investing. We're not like buying some Amazon shares or some shares in the S&P 500 instead of having cash. No, we're just changing our form of cash. We're hedging against the dollar, and a different form of dollar is Bitcoin. So we've just got a different form of cash because we might want that form of cash in the future. So that's why we're holding some on the balance sheet. And so it's only a small story, but I thought that one little line was quite prominent and just worth mentioning.
I think it's a really relevant point, because I think you've covered it before with CEOs and directors of various companies. They talk about having different currencies on the balance sheet to kind of a bit of a hedge against the currency having an issue. And it is that point, why, have you hedged against fiat currency by having Bitcoin on the balance sheet? And that's, a bit of a question to general companies. Why am I doing it? We've got MicroStrategy, Tesla, Square, and various others which I don't know the name of, who have done this. But notably Tesla is a top 10 company in the world. So it's not just an out here thing. It's not the magical internet money of these plebs sitting behind their computers anymore. It is a lot more mainstream. And something else which I think they threw in the article is regarding the liquidity, which I think we all hated at the time. When they tested the liquidity of Bitcoin, basically, if we sell it, are we actually going to get our money back? And I think it's more something to satisfy the shareholders.
The interesting thing, I think, though, about Tesla putting on their balance sheet, their share price has stayed pretty decent. It's jumping between 1,100 and 900. It's jumps between them. But MicroStrategy has taken quite a plummet. It's probably, I think it's about 50% under what it was not so long ago. So whether or not you could argue sticking your sort of wealth into Bitcoin in a volatile market is quite up and down, because if they've lost 50%, admittedly, he's probably, if you DCA him, he's probably about even, probably, on what he's put in. I don't know.
If you look at MicroStrategy over 20 years, they've had 2 real peaks, haven't they? They're a weird stock. I don't know the business well enough to really understand why there's two insane peaks, but the rest is fairly low. So
yeah, it is 2 big peaks. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
and they're actually probably double what they were as the bottom line from early 2000s.
Oh, no, on the rest, no, they're up about 10x. Like, I know exactly which article you've read, and it's a FUD article.
No, it's not. No, I'm looking at the stocks and shares because I follow Tesla and MicroStrategy.
What I'd say about MicroStrategy is think about the investment, because they're just like me and you. They put an investment into Bitcoin. It's going to be a 5-year play or so, but 5 years in 5 years time, it's going to bounce that stock almightily when it's even stronger. So you look. I suppose this is a day-to-day trading. We're looking at what, a year in since most of the purchases have happened with Bitcoin, and we know from personal hodling it's going to take longer.
Yeah, well, Sailor said it's a lifetime buy, but who knows?
I'm talking more about the share price. Sure. For that to impact the share price, it's going to be 5 years. But as a strategy for his business, he's right. It
depends, I guess. Like when you think about what is good investment for a company, it depends. Like obviously, Sailor's got his own opinion as this. I guess he's the CEO. But if the shareholders, people do invest in companies and stocks based on wanting a return. So if you say like hedge against the dollar, which is exactly right. Long term, that's exactly the strategy. But if you're going to be buying in and shareholders wanting to get some of their money out so they can retire if they haven't gone into Bitcoin, it's quite a dodgy company to have your shares in, isn't it? Because it is going to fluctuate with Bitcoin.
No,
admittedly, Bitcoin's going to go up in the long term, but it depends on your time preference on that.
No, like the shares, like you don't sell. You can sell as many shares as you want. Like the company doesn't have to come up for the money to buy the shares off you. Someone buys those shares on the free market. So if you were to sell some Tesla shares, Elon doesn't have to go into his pocket and get his money and maybe sell some Bitcoin to pay you for your shares.
I'm on about. No,
I would buy them.
Yeah. What I mean is the price that I could sell them for. If I'm the shareholder, and I want to sell
only if it has a meaningful impact on the company. So for Tesla, for example, they're worth like well over 100 trillion. They're not 100 trillion, 100 billion, and they have like less than $1 billion in Bitcoin. So it's like less than 1%, and they still have stacks tons of dollars. The only time it would ever become actually materially important to a company, which is weirdly our next story, is when a company has not only put all their money on the balance sheet into Bitcoin, they've also then leveraged loans to then also buy more Bitcoin, and that is where MicroStrategy is. So for MicroStrategy, I would agree that they are whatever the price of Bitcoin goes, that's where MicroStrategy goes. So that's why and weirdly, it's almost outperformed Bitcoin MicroStrategy as a share both ways. So when the pump was happening, MicroStrategy actually outperformed Bitcoin on its share price. But then once the price topped and then came back down, it's overperformed on the way down as well. So it's almost acting a bit like a shitcoin next to Bitcoin, which in reality,
like a wrapper. What is that? What they call them?
Yeah, it is
Bitcoin wrapper.
It's almost like it's kind of like it's the lazy person's Bitcoin ETF. Like you just buy some MicroStrategy, and if Bitcoin goes up by 10%,
it's a way to get in. We talked about ETFs and all sorts around crypto as being a kind of first step for things like boomers to get into the market. And maybe it is the way, I'm interested in Bitcoin, we'll buy MicroStrategy because they're heavily leveraged. One point which I wanted to make around this is we've seen like the comments by Elon on social media around Dogecoin and Bitcoin not being right because of the energy waste, etc., and boiling the oceans and whatever else. But what I'd say to everyone is, don't listen to what he says. Look at what he does. It's still on the balance sheet. Is Dogecoin on the balance sheet? Is Ethereum on the balance sheet? Is Polkadot or whatever else on the balance sheet? No, it's Bitcoin.
Exactly. But then, rolling on from that point, then let's go to like some FUD tweets from Hedgeye, and their argument is, if Bitcoin goes as low as $21,000, and what we're at right now, pretty much bang on $40,000. So we have to go 50% down from here. His argument is MicroStrategy will get margin called on their loans of Bitcoin. So essentially what that would mean is they'd send the price even lower, because their debt would now be due and they would have to sell their billions, or at least a portion of their billions of Bitcoin, to pay off some of the loans that they have got out in Bitcoin, because their debt would just be too high and the risk would be too high for their lenders. They would have to call in that debt and go, you're going to have to pay this because you're so far in underwater now. We don't think you're going to ever pay if Bitcoin goes any lower. So we want our money now. And I saw this, and it doesn't surprise me. I think this is largely FUD. I would like to see what Michael Saylor probably has to say about it, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's true, because you can't take out huge loans backed by Bitcoin, and then if Bitcoin does do like an 80% drawdown from there, then yeah, you're going to be the people that loaned you that money are going to want their money back.
But surely, if you've had the loan accepted and you can continue to make the repayments, why would they care? It's like I've just remortgaged my house. They really cared about the remortgage, but they don't care for the 5 years on now. They couldn't care less if I have £0 in my salary packet. As long as I can pay my monthly wage and my monthly rent or whatever it is, payment, they don't care. So why would they call it back unless it cuts to a term where he has to renegotiate the
Well, it's fundamentally what the case in this case it would be. Let's say, put it back to houses. Let's say you bought your house, just use round numbers. So let's say you bought your house for £1 million, and the bank's giving you a loan for £1 million, but then something happens in the market where your house fundamentally now is only worth 100 grand. They would be worried about you now, because they're going, is this guy going to continue to pay back this loan where the asset he's paying back is now worth 10 times less, say worth 10% of what it was? There's a chance you're going to default and you're going to just declare bankruptcy and not pay, and you're going to leave us £1 million in the hole, and when we come to collect the goods, we're only going to have 100 grand to collect.
Oh, I see. So take it early whilst there's money in the pot.
Exactly. And this is obviously not a standard loan either. This is one of these highly leveraged, like business type loans where, and there'll be conditions. It'll be literally probably in the contract itself, where it says, if Bitcoin hits a certain price, then you have to pay X, Y, Z, because we're going to be worried we're not going to get paid at all. So we want to get paid. And this is what this guy is theorizing. It might be bullshit. You might be spot on, and the Bitcoin price could go to $10. And Michael Saylor might be still sat there going, I'll meet my repayments. There's nothing they can do. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. But yeah.
Yeah, I like somebody's response to this. This post is irresponsible, factually correct, but misleading. And then they replied saying, factually correct, but misleading. That makes no sense. That was their reply. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's a very short tweet, right? It just says, if Bitcoin hits 21,000, then MicroStrategy get margin called. So if that's factually correct, then there's no FUD there. It's fact. So the argument is, well, will Bitcoin go to 21,000? Because if it does, then MicroStrategy are fucked. This doesn't mean Bitcoin's fucked. It just means MicroStrategy are fucked. And this is what happens if you over leverage. I'm never a fan of taking out debt, even to buy Bitcoin. So that's 10%. Are you messing about the sound over there? It's a bit crackly.
No, I think my internet's playing up for some reason. I've got no idea why. Maybe the wife is still streaming porn.
You keep coming in and out, and it crackles each time. Like, it's irritating me. Listening.
I could try restarting my computer, but I just don't know what's going to actually work.
All right. Another nice happy story leads straight on from this one. Coming in from the fucking young MBAs, one contribution about Bitcoin. Go on.
Yeah. Bitcoin funds saw, so basically it's the largest single week of outflows since June 2021. And I think that was actually tying in with your Elon Musk thing, because when Tesla stopped cash payments due to the FUD, that was in June 2021, wasn't it? So there's been so many whales dropping their Bitcoin off the ledgers and wallets and selling up, and that's where we're seeing our price. And I put this on, right, because it's music to my ears. I love it, because let's get this price down. let's stack a bit more, because at the moment, we're waiting. We want basically for financial freedom for the majority of people that are probably listening and stuff like that, it's going to have to be at a decent price. It can't be just touching around 50, 60k. So the longer it stays down here, the more solid the hands stand. And we've got a million, so many diamond hands in the Bitcoin community. But there's a lot of big companies and stuff like that have just probably YOLO'd in and FOMO'd in, and they're the people that probably be shitting their pants, selling, and we can take advantage of that. And it's all about stacking it for this halving. I think we've
But
got
don't you think
what,
Bitcoin's failing? Revolut.
failing?
Yeah, Revolut are promoting Polkadot, so isn't that the one to buy?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it is, yeah, that's it. Well, I actually got Polkadot, I think it was the other day, but that's another story that we got later on. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that so many people are hearing about Bitcoin. The amount of people that talk to me about it now and are buying in, they don't get it. They're doing it like you said earlier. They're using it as a stock. They're buying in to make some money to sell it 70 grand. Like, they're not in it because they believe in it. They don't believe that the financial system's knackered. They don't believe in any of that. They don't think about it. They're just thinking this is a good way
It's
to make
because they
some
don't
money.
understand. There's such a lack of understanding or financial awareness. It's unbelievable. Myself included. Like, it took me probably 4 or 5 years of actually
Oh man, there must be like a really big scene happening right now.
Financials, economics.
You have to restart your computer, mate.
Yeah, it must be my mother load of all. Okay. Yeah. So anyway,
we can't hear
cut
you.
this off for a reason.
I have to boot you in a minute. There we go. He's gone.
Yeah. So so I don't know what your take is on it, because I know. I just think
my take. I'm going to tell you my take right now because you've been annoying me. But I like the fact you like the price down. But right, so no Bitcoin whales sold Bitcoin in June. Not a single one, because we can see their wallets. They didn't sell. The people that sold are the investors. The Bitcoin funds sold, right? So these guys, you can call them whales, but they're just rich financial guys that are playing the market. Because what happened in the last week? The entire stock market plummeted 10-15%. So like, my only bit of cash that I have on standby is actually in Amazon stock. And I've got it there as a pretty much my other store of value. Other than Bitcoin, I have 1% in Amazon stock, which I sell and then use as my day-to-day funds. That share price dropped by 15% in one day. I haven't seen double-digit fucking numbers on Amazon ever, not up or down, and 15% in one day. So when I looked at Bitcoin, I was like, right, normally Bitcoin does whatever the stock market does times 5. Times 10 normally. So that is up and down, right? So the stock market's booming, Bitcoin will be booming, but better. The stock market comes down, normally Bitcoin fucking plummets. Yeah, so a 15% down on Amazon, I'd have fully expected a normal reaction to that would be Bitcoin down 50% in a day. Because this is people scared. These are the same people that are almost Bitcoiners. They can see that the financial market is fucked. They can see that we've had 2 years of lockdown, hardly any economic activity, yet the stock market is at all-time highs. Nothing makes any fucking sense. We're literally at the show with the emperor, and he's saying how great his gown is, and he's fucking naked. And we're all staring at him going, I can see his bollocks. And everyone else is going, isn't his dress amazing? And he's saying he's got a beautiful dress on. So we're like, it must be a beautiful dress. It must be beautiful garments and stuff. And like, I can see his balls. I'm not sure he's got anything on. And that's what everyone's looking at when they see the stock market. Because they go, how can the stock market be at all-time highs? We've had 2 years of lockdown. And that's all. And so this goes, oh, look, the Bitcoin funds were largest single week of outflows. Okay, what's it do to the price? The Bitcoin price is the same. So a load of funds who are the investors who think the stock market is Bitcoin, they sold their Bitcoin. But what happened? Because the price didn't go down. proper Bitcoiners brought up those cheap sats and kept, because they must have. Someone was there to buy it, and hopefully they've got them in cold storage. So weirdly, it looks like a negative article, but I actually see this as massively positive, because if the funds are selling, who the fuck brought all that Bitcoin? Because the price didn't go down.
Yeah, I can see your point completely, because it is a positive thing, because it's maintaining at this high level anyway. It's like, it's still, when you think about it, you just draw out a few years and the price is ridiculously higher than what it was. But the point is, that's what I'm getting at. You want to get rid of all the dirt that's in it at the moment.
Yeah.
Let them come in at 100, 200 grand when they come crawling back. And we've put so much time and effort and thought and time, like literally, it's been years now, hasn't it, of riding this roller coaster. Let's absorb some of these cheap sats. And like, I'm not in a rush to see that sit at 70, because it doesn't do anything. You need it to be, we're talking 10 years for real life when it becomes proper mainstream. Like,
yeah, and anything below $50 million is cheap for a Bitcoin.
Cheap. Yeah. So let's just absorb as many cheap sats. But yeah, to be honest, with that article, I just googled Bitcoin price. I want to trigger you, and it kind of worked. It was good.
What triggered me more is your like explanation of it, because you seem to believe it, which annoyed me.
that's how a true trigger is, isn't it? You said don't shoot the king without miss. I didn't miss, did I, bro?
You didn't miss. So who else triggered me this week?
Who?
Revolut.
Oh, Revolut. Oh, I'm glad I pointed you in that direction as well, didn't I?
Absolute fucking scumbags.
I know, man.
Who do you think they are, right? So obviously, yeah, you obviously told me they were there. I had no clue that these little lessons were sat there. So for anyone listening, there's a free $5 worth of Polkadot on Revolut. You can click through a few lessons, and they give you £5 worth of Polkadot, which in 2 clicks of a button you can exchange to Bitcoin and then send out to your private address and put in cold storage. So that's great. It's a free $5, which is, we always love free sats. But not only are they promoting shitcoins, oh my god! Like the tweet that I've linked in, obviously, I made Bitcoin lessons, and they have copied my app screen for screen, even the beginning lessons, when they're talking about, instead of saying what is Bitcoin, they go, what is a blockchain? And they go, what is fiat? These are literally my questions. The answers are even similar. The layout of how you press next and how you go back, the same as mine. The coloring of the app, same as mine.
Mm-hmm.
It's
bullshit. It's really bad, because yeah, I've retweeted them saying, what are you going to do about this Revolut? I saw your tweet, and it's complete plagiarism. If I submit that in my MBA, I'll be kicked out.
Yeah, I can guarantee that the product manager that's sitting in Revolut went round and went, oh, I'm in charge of putting lessons into Revolut. So I know what they've done. They've gone around and Googled some stuff, and I think they've stumbled upon Bitcoin lessons, and they've clicked through it and gone, oh, this is quite a nice little user journey. I like how they've done the screens and the back buttons and the Q&A. And they've literally just copy and pasted it into their app, and kind of shitty. And not only, I wouldn't even mind if they had just taken the Bitcoin content and just plagiarized it. I go, look, at least it's getting a wider audience. I don't even care about getting a credit. Educate people on Bitcoin. The problem is they've literally, in some of my questions, they've cut and pasted the word Bitcoin out and put crypto in, and gone like, how do you know crypto is decentralized? It's like, oh, because it uses a blockchain. I'm like, that isn't even right. You've amalgamated 3 questions, put them together. No, you're literally lying now. This is not a lesson. It's a misinformation, like propaganda thing for shitcoins. Like so that's why I'm outraged and gone, fuck this. I'm calling them out on Twitter and going, you're not getting away with that. That's scummy.
Have you had much traction on that?
I can see my notifications racking up at the moment, but no, not at the moment. I was expecting a response from Revolut, because normally they're quite hot on the replies. Their social media team are quite good.
I might send it in the chat. In an account, so I could always just flick a message and just say, I know the person who's made Bitcoin lessons. It looks like you plagiarized it.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Because I've got premium as well. I might do the same. Because anyway, on Twitter, they, like you say, they're normally pretty hot on people saying haven't got username, password, and I follow them, you see, so I see it because I really like Revolut and I love what they're doing. But what I don't get is why wouldn't they come in collaboration with you? They should be buying Bitcoin lessons, sort of like use for. I've never seen a free lesson for Bitcoin. Like, why aren't we getting free sats to teach people Bitcoin? Why is it all about shitcoins? Don't make sense.
It's easy. It's because Bitcoin is, what is it, £31,000, whereas something shitty like Polkadot is £1.50.
Yeah.
So people want to own a whole coin. Bitcoin is out of reach, so they're thinking, when can we get the masses in? Oh, this sounds exciting. I've heard about crypto. I'll buy some Polkadot because I can buy a whole coin, or I can buy 10 of them. Whereas Bitcoin, I can buy a fraction of a coin. So I think that's literally it. It's appealed to the masses to get people dropping their money, which I think fits in with your shitcoin corner later on. But, you know, it was free sats. But like my feedback was, just as Mr. Allin said, was they're talking about it being decentralized. I'm like, not all crypto's decentralized, because we've seen it with XRP. In the fact that it's just a database which someone has access to. It's not decentralized. Anyone can access it. Ethereum is not decentralized. It's basically open to a couple of people to edit as they please. And they said that Ethereum was proof of work in there.
Yeah, well, it is.
And
it is.
It isn't, is it?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that again, but yeah, it is proof of work. They're trying to move to proof of stake and can't, because it's so shit they can't even move it to proof of stake. But,
okay.
But one of their questions is, how do you know a project is decentralized? And the answer is, it has a blockchain. That is fundamentally incorrect. I could start a blockchain now just with us three. Is that decentralized? No, us three own it. We can increase the supply, we can change the rules, we can change the fees, we can change anything. But according to them, we have a blockchain. So we're magically
they're also saying that proof of stake is decentralized, which I'd say is wrong.
Of course, yeah. It's written by the Polkadot guys, right? The Polkadot guys have clearly spent a lot of money with them because they're giving out a $5 to everyone that completes this stuff. So they've written the questions, but I think Revolut have designed it with some influence from
Do you know, it's interesting, right? Because when I went through the questions, I didn't realize until quite late on in the final lot of lessons that you had to get the question right to get. I just thought it was just going through and it was just letting you win the money, because I didn't get one wrong until towards the end when it was actually very specific on Polkadot, because I didn't read any of the lessons. When it was a minute scroller, like video, I just put the phone down and I refused to listen to it. But it's because it was Bitcoin is what they were substituting for crypto. So I knew all the answers. And it was all correct because it was basically incorrect.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Well, didn't you learn stuff about relays and whatever the fuck else is in Polkadot?
Oh, no, that I just had to trial and error then.
Yeah, listen to it. The last lesson was hard because there's 3 questions. I had no fucking clue. It took me about 7 goes to get through that 3.
Same. I was waiting.
I semi-listened to it, and it's all about relays and these other things which connect it to different blockchains. I was just like, this is literally just a fucking gimmick to get people to invest in your shitcoin.
Yeah, and at some point they'll probably go, oh, there's like 1 million people with Revolut that also hold Polkadot. You're like, yeah, because you gave a load of them it for free, and they don't know how to change it yet. Like
it was
us
the
three.
Easiest change ever, wasn't it? I just went straight to buy or convert, and it was straight to Bitcoin. It was like boink, happy days. I actually made 2 cents more than you.
Did you hear?
Yeah, because you screen captured what you got, and I was like,
yeah, the price
was going to be worth. They'll be worth hundreds in the future.
Yeah, so it's a shame, isn't it? Because I think the real reason why they've edited a load of my lessons, well, I think they took the early lessons, like some of the early questions about explaining what fiat is, but then they just jumped straight from fiat and didn't kind of criticize it at all, really. Just went, how is it different? Right, now let's get into the inner workings of fucking Polkadot and all this technical babble, which makes no sense. Like, I think we're all relatively clued up. I have no clue what it was talking about. It was just complete and utter nonsense. And somehow they're expecting random people to believe in it. But it's just, I think people just want to hear that stuff though, because they just want to hear, oh, why is this such a good investment? Why is this going to make so much money? Whereas if you look at Bitcoin lessons, I delve right back. I go back 500 years and go, let's kind of start at the beginning. Let's go, what is money? If anything, actually, I go back thousands of years to start with barter and work all the way up to modern times. And the problem is that takes time. I actually say it takes probably about 5 to 6 hours to complete my app of sitting down attention. People haven't got that type of attention, I guess, for little shitty things like this. I think we all completed it within like 5 minutes, and 2 of those minutes were spent watching a forced video that you couldn't skip. So I guess that's why they're doing it. And I also know that all these exchanges, they make all their money on shitcoins. And everyone, like nearly all the exchanges have said, you can't make money out of Bitcoin because hardly anyone trades Bitcoin. People buy it, it disappears from the exchange, and then they never see it again. So they make one fee on you buying the Bitcoin. The great thing is about shitcoins, when it comes to the exchanges, obviously they make all their money in fees. When you buy some Polkadot or whatever, we know that you're not going to keep that on for long. You're going to sell it, and you're going to buy some dink doink, and then you're going to buy some fucking NFT shit. And every single time you flip your money into another thing, they're making money. So they don't
dink
want
doink.
Bitcoin.
I'm back in the conversation.
Dink doink is always hovering in the background of this pod.
Yeah, but I mean that's the point. Like, people are buying shit because they don't understand it. I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head that, and on one of the previous stories, is around people who need to understand the history of money. And I think that is like my biggest kind of breakthrough in the last, well, probably financially for my whole life. Once I understood money, I understood the flaws more. And it's kind of like I was searching because I knew that money was broken. I knew that you couldn't pay people to not work. You know, that was the fundamentals. I went, this isn't right. I knew that inflation wasn't right, but I realized it was broken, but I didn't realize how broken it was. And I didn't really understand money. But if you ask the average man on the street, do you understand money? The answer would be yes.
And you know that thing where you just mentioned about paying people to stay at home. Do you know what I received with my last I think it was the first of this month or whatever it was. I got 150 quid given to me to help with energy costs rising. I didn't have to apply for that. It just came part as a direct debit. Like, that's free money again from the government. Like, that's obviously going to come and bite us in the ass. So we still haven't learned our
You're
lessons.
going to pay more for that. You've got £150, but that's going to cost you £450.
Of course, yeah.
You know, it's simple. It's like people, didn't work. They sunbathe, they watch Netflix, they chinned all the series. They got like 30 grand of government money. But over their lifetime, they're going to pay, you know.
I agree.
They're going to pay an extra probably 100 grand at least for having that 30 grand.
Well, actually, Dr. Evil 10%, I won't, because that 150 quid went into baby sets. Cheers, Bojo. So I'll take your 150. It's going to cost me 450. I'm going to double down on 100 grand.
but you're still going to be taxed more. You know, the simple fact is, anything which you get free from the government is not free. You are going to get taxed, and it's either going to be through tax or inflation. Take your pick.
Exactly, yeah. But to be fair, that's happening regardless. So I don't know why maybe it's just my county or my council that are doing it. I don't know, but 150 ain't going to touch the side with the increase in the energies. So I don't really get it. It doesn't make sense.
It's virtue signaling. It's to show that they're good.
Yeah, I saw a great tweet about this because I think they did something similar in Canada or America. And they went, this is like someone coming round and breaking your legs with a baseball bat, and then coming round a week later with a crutch and asking for a thank you. It's like, dude, the reason why I'm in this state is because of you. Like, giving me the crutch.
That's probably the stimmy checks, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the stimmy checks were a while ago, but yeah, it was something similar to this 150. I think the Canadian government did something, and like they fucked the economy. They fucked the oil prices and energy prices and everything with inflation and various things. And then they give you a tiny one-off handout and they think, say, we're here to help. We care about you. Dude, you're the guy that broke my legs. Don't give me the crutch. Fuck your crutch. I'll make it myself.
It was the energy company who did it, not the price caps, not the inflation.
No, it was Putin, I heard. Putin's hacked in to SSE and put the prices up.
And then they've also put 20% on top because they're greedy.
Yeah, and he also hacked into Tesco and put the price of a sausage roll up because of lols. Don't worry, once they realise I put the price back down, it's fine. It's just transitory.
Yeah, transitory. Don't worry, inflation's actually good for us.
Yeah. So should we move on to, instead of shitcoin lesson, should we move on to an actual Bitcoin lesson? This is actually a proper story for once. We don't often have these.
Yeah, do it.
And I thought, as the newest guest, young MBA, who's obviously an absolute pro in Bit 119, if you could talk us through what it is, the pros and cons, and what his thoughts are.
You know I haven't read it. I'm here for you wrote on it, this is difficult. So I was like, well, I'm not even opening it. I'll wait for you to give me the lesson. I've listened to you teach these guys for the last 50 weeks, so you can teach me.
Yeah, no. I just thought I'd give you a hospital pass just for the
I know you did. Yeah.
You just got too fitted by their big centre back, and like you're crying on the floor now, being like, why did you do that? But no, so Bit 119, right? So there's a lot of chatter about this on Twitter because there's a new proposal for a hard fork of Bitcoin. So a hard fork obviously is a big change of Bitcoin. It's always a massive risk to do it. Every time you do it, you fundamentally risk Satoshi's code that is sound money, and you introduce the risk of increasing an inflation bug, some type of bug that means that people could have their Bitcoin hacked out of their hard wallets or whatever. Like this, you only ever do a hard fork if it is absolutely necessary and it genuinely improves Bitcoin. So this guy, Jeremy Rubin, has essentially, to put a proposal in a nutshell, really, is he wants smart contracts on Bitcoin. So this essentially would make Bitcoin kind of compete with some of the shit coins, because at the moment, all you can do with Bitcoin, the Bitcoin blocks are very small. So all it can take is very simple code, and you can send some Bitcoin from point A to point B, and no rules attached. It just, the Bitcoin moves from one place to another, bing. But what if you could put some rules on that sending? So if I send that Bitcoin to you, for example, it might be, I can hold this Bitcoin in here for 5 years. I'm going to collect 10% interest for those 5 years. At the end of that send, I'm going to take all that Bitcoin out and send it back to myself. Because essentially what I'm doing is loaning you the Bitcoin. So you might use that for leverage on something else, or maybe you can withdraw it at some point, but at certain points, I need that Bitcoin back. So this essentially, when you really kind of dumb it down, this is DeFi. This is decentralized finance. This is what the Ethereum guys and all those idiots have been talking about. And this guy is proposing it for Bitcoin. Unsurprisingly, this has been met with fierce opposition, because really, when you look back on the history of Bitcoin, we've probably changed the protocol 3 times since Satoshi kind of released it in a material way. The first time was in 2013, when we did BIP 39, which was to improve the seed words. So before that, you'd have to store a little notepad file of your private key. And you would need, like, this private key is obviously a long string of digits and numbers. You didn't know what it was. And for a non-technical person, you would struggle probably to control that. We replaced it with the 12 or 24 words. You can now back that up. So that improved the security and the usability of Bitcoin. So that hard fork got approved, and bang, we now have seed words in Bitcoin. You probably have to fast forward 4 years until we get the next one, which was Segwit. Now we've got Segwit, which was going to improve scalability of Bitcoin and also enable Lightning, which was obviously hugely important for the overall scalability and also a bit of privacy for Bitcoin as well. So that one got approved. Then the last year, in like 2020, we got Taproot, and then Taproot improved the scalability and the privacy of Bitcoin. So you can't tell now when Bitcoin has been coin joined, and also the the blocks are smaller, so you can get more transactions per block. This one is different because this isn't trying to improve security, scalability, or privacy of Bitcoin, which fundamentally the problem this guy will always have is that's all we care about in Bitcoin. Satoshi built the perfect form of money. So unless you're improving on top of him on security, scalability, or privacy, we don't give a fuck. This is features. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if Bitcoin could do this and you could put it into a fund and get 10%? Wouldn't it be great if you could create a DAO and put it in and then fund a load of Bitcoin projects all on the main chain? You go, well, it might be nice, but do I want to risk separating money from state? Because if we fuck this up, it's over.
Well, it's also, you start bringing projects like this, and next we'll be having fucking pictures of dogs on NFTs on the network. You know, it just seems irrelevant. Like, I'm looking at this and thinking, obviously my knowledge around like layering isn't great, but could we not just treat it as a layer on top? Because it seems like having it on the actual Bitcoin network, it's a bit irrelevant. Because like you said, the Bitcoin network is money. So if we had it in another layer and actually had your smart contracts sitting on that layer outside of the main Bitcoin network, we wouldn't have the issue. Because I just feel like this would, you know, gum up the actual network.
Yeah, I don't ever get. I actually wrote down a question. Why would you ever hard fork? And I know you answered that quite well with why we have in the past, but that scares the hell out of me as well. Why don't mess around with something? Don't, you know, fix something that's not broken. The do-good is not what we want. We want, you know, if it's a security breach or something like that comes about, then possibly. But we know what happened to the soft forks, because I'm guessing soft forks are your Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold. Is that right?
No, they're hard forks.
They're hard forks.
Are they hard forks as well? Oh, because that's when the developers went off.
Yeah, that's a split in the chain. Yeah, so you can have like kind of aggressive hard forks and hard forks that everyone agrees with. So technically, in Bitcoin, there are other forms of Bitcoin on the old chain. So there's a load of Bitcoin sat there that doesn't have seed words. There's a load of Bitcoin there that doesn't have Segwit. There's a load of Bitcoin there that doesn't have Taproot. But everybody agreed that that chain is valueless and zero. This one is now 100% the chain. So if your coins are on this chain, they're worth everything. On the other chain, they're worth nothing. Whereas when you have a disputed hard fork, that's when coins go off on their own and they go, no, we're Bitcoin. And then there's some people that believe in that coin and keep promoting it. So Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, Bitcoin Gold, they all have a value. It's 99% lower than Bitcoin, but they're like aggressive hard forks. Whereas this is like the entire Bitcoin community are agreeing. Essentially, it's just a network upgrade, but it does leave an old chain behind. And this is what this guy is proposing. And fundamentally, but the thing is, if I play devil's advocate, right? So if I play devil's advocate, and I think this is the reasoning why this guy's put this forward, is I think he thinks that a lot of the shit coins have got a lot of value and a lot of like hype and promotion because they can do DeFi. So why not bring DeFi to Bitcoin? And if you do bring it in, then essentially what you do is remove all the use cases for shitcoins, for NFTs, and essentially you can go, right, look, a lot of people are, you know, really, when you look into it, all these DeFi platforms and DeFi tokens, they promise this DeFi land of like all these various types of loans and DAOs and funds, and they're all, no one's controlling it. It's just the code. But fundamentally, the only reason why people buy into these projects is because they buy the token. Then the promise of that token going up kind of makes their money, even though the use case is never realized. So what he's saying is, how about we just take the use case away and just put it into Bitcoin, and then therefore they have no value. But even when I'm playing Devil Advocate, I can't even do it because I just know that that isn't why people buy shitcoins. They don't buy shitcoins because they can do DeFi. They do it because the token's going to go up, or they hope. So it's still going to be Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's in their mind old tech, and the whole use case for shitcoins is still going to be there. So you're not even going to get rid of that, and you're bringing something useless to Bitcoin. Just this proposal is just it's not doing it for me.
I just think it's technology which can supplement Bitcoin. I just don't think it belongs on the Bitcoin, network, does it? Like the fact is, it is money. I fully support that, but could it have a place? I think it might, but it doesn't sit within Bitcoin, because the fact is that we don't want to gum up the network with shit, do we? We don't want NFTs. We don't want smart contracts. If we want that, it's supplemental and it exists on something else, which isn't going to affect the flow of currency.
You could, because you don't even need a layer for this. You could just create a centralized company that does Bitcoin loans or a Bitcoin fund. Like it doesn't need to be on the main chain.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, it's just wherever it can exist out of the main network. It's just like a layer is usually as an example, because it just doesn't bother the actual money. I just don't understand why it should be in there. It's like saying, oh yeah, we want to have bank tokens within fiat, and it's just like, it's not how it works.
Yeah, what I don't get with the devil's advocate side as well is, if DeFi was genuinely a reason why people went into shitcoins, then there's a use case, but they're going in it for gains. You don't go into Bitcoin for immediate gains, because the price for people that are putting in a couple of grand is, they're not going to see enough. Like, they want the 10x, 100x, don't they? So I don't think it's going to even achieve that. But you're going to add a massive vulnerability to the server, to the network.
Yeah, and this one would be big, right? Because man, this is literally allowing you to change. So the number one thing we trust in Bitcoin, right, is final settlement. So if I send a transaction from me to you, I know it's done. There's no way that I can reverse it. There's no way that you can change what I sent. Nothing. This allows you to put rules on that send, to go, oh, maybe you can't spend it for 5 years. Maybe once you receive it, you can only send it to one address. Imagine how many ways that could be manipulated. Imagine how many ways that could go wrong. Because fundamentally, it might mean that you can't trust sending Bitcoin anymore. Because, if I send it to someone I don't trust, they could change it and 10x what I sent them. Like, this is such a no-goer. It's so dangerous to even consider putting this into the main chain. It's unreal. Like, build an app on top of it if you want to do that, and then people can choose to go in and then at their risk. Do never put this in the main chain. It's just one mistake and it's over. Like, Bitcoin is done, and it's the risk reward here is, the reward is like 2 and the risk is like 100. It's just no way.
I mean,
can we carry on?
If he does a hard fork, does it mean we get free coins of his new one, and then we can sell it and buy sats?
No, this is he's not proposing an aggressive hard fork here. He wants a hard fork in Bitcoin that everyone comes to consensus and agrees to move towards. So he needs 90% of nodes and miners to agree, and then we will hard fork to this version of Bitcoin that he wants. If we don't do that, then there will be no version of Bitcoin that does this.
Oh, you should go and make it anyway, so I can have free sats.
So what you're saying there, though, right? So if 90% don't agree, it becomes a hard aggressive fork. So you could potentially do it anyway, but then they would be the shitcoin out of Bitcoin, and so it would be real Bitcoin, then, would it? Potentially.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah. Like, literally, I could hard fork Bitcoin myself now and call it Mr. All-In Coin. And the value of that coin will have whatever the market says. But obviously, I have no agreement from the network, which is why it's an aggressive hard fork, because no one agreed that I was allowed to do it. But the Bitcoin code is open source, and anyone can just copy the code and go, this is the new form of Bitcoin, and I can change the code in some way. An actual proper hard fork is where 90% of the people that are running Bitcoin agree with your idea, which is why it is so hard to get, because getting 90% of Bitcoiners to agree on anything is tough. So
nowadays it'd be very difficult. This is probably why you should run your own node. Have your vote in it.
Yeah. So I've got 2 votes for this, and I'm going to be voting against.
Isn't there a third one? Please build it so I can have free sats.
And that's called twitter.com.
Yeah.
Please. This sounds like shit, but please build it, because I want some of your new coins, which I'm going to sell and buy actual proper Bitcoin with.
Yeah, but Dr. Evil 10%. You know how scary it is to actually convert and get those free shit.
I've heard this actually, but yeah, I think I would struggle to actually bring myself to do that after hearing Mr. All do more and do it.
Yeah, the Mr. All In's poker career had to stop because he was going to have a heart attack. I think you would actually have a heart attack doing a hard fork, especially now. Because you know what, you'd be doing it for me as well.
I think I would be transferring literally about a 20th of my stack every time.
I think what I'd do is I'd probably put it all in. I'd probably convert it all into fiat, do the the hard fork update, and then buy all back in. Take actually a 20% hit on tax, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the problem is
cheaper than losing.
You have to have the coins at the point of the fork, and it's super scary. You have to do it per address as well. So if your money's all in one address,
oh fucking hell! Yeah.
Could you loop it by literally moving it out of Bitcoin into fiat and back into the new system?
Yeah,
with your risk being very minimal, then, wouldn't it?
Well, some of the shitcoin scammers back in 2017. This was the scam, right? So people were saying that we're going to launch our shitcoin and hard fork Bitcoin on this date. So take out a load of debt before this, buy a load of Bitcoin. You're going to get our shitcoin because whatever your balance is on this date and this time, that's what we're going to copy over one for one. So then after that, sell that Bitcoin that you can't afford and pay back your debt. And then you get more of our shitcoin for free. So a load of people were doing stuff like that. And who knows, it may have even been profitable. But yeah, going through that process of actually getting the shitcoin before Coinbase made it easy. Because I think if you hold it there, actually, no, even Ledger make it easy now. So even on Trezor, I've had certain hard forks happen on Bitcoin that I didn't even fucking know about. And they just appear on my ledger. And I've gone, what the hell is this random coin? And then I'll Google it and go, oh, it's a hard fork of Bitcoin. And I go, right, where can I sell this coin? And it's like some random Chinese network. So I'm like, okay, I'll sign up on it, send it my stuff, sell it for Bitcoin and send it back to my hardware wallet. But so that's made it easy. But back in the day, before Ledger and stuff were really as good of a company as they are now, I was doing it myself with code, and I had a very scary couple of moments where I thought I'd lost a shit ton of Bitcoin to the fucking ether when I was exchanging for some Bitcoin Cash, or at least trying to claim my Bitcoin Cash purely so I could convert it to Sats and dump it, and that was about a 10% premium, so that was quite high, like getting an extra 10% for free. I'm like, I'll take that. I'll take 10% of free Sats, but I nearly lost 100%, and that did terrify me that day, but it worked out okay. It was fine. It was just a bug in the code that made my balance look like zero, and it was just refreshing. It took 10 minutes to come back. But that's a long 10 minutes.
Few grey hairs.
Oh man. So should we move on to FUD of the week?
Yeah, sure. Oh, everyone's favorite subject. The WEF. You will eat the bugs and you will be happy.
You'll suck my dick and you'll be happy.
Have this injection. Have your money inflated away from you and own nothing and be happy.
You will dress as a pig and snuffle up my shit. Happy.
You will be put back into mud and into serfdom, and you will be happy.
You will sell your firstborn for a pizza and be happy.
Into the international paedophile ring and be happy.
Disclaimer: no children are hurt in the making of this paedophile. They all fucking loved it.
But you get a free membership.
So it just seems like a continuation of a previous story, doesn't it? This one.
What's that? In what way?
So this is a change of code, not the climate.
Yeah.
Towards proof of stake. So the WEF saying it. So this was a story which I think we covered about a month ago, which actually it was that shitcoin owner, Ripple owner, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was him. Yeah.
And now it's got into the WEF. So along with eating bugs and owning nothing, you can take away the only chance which you have of freedom by moving along to CBDCs, because they will own Bitcoin if they get to proof of stake, because they will try and get the biggest stake in there. Simple. That's why they don't want it on proof of work. There's no way of controlling a proof of work networks. It's random. So I think we cover this way back. But if you want to have a miner, so to secure the network, check the transactions going through, and also it's voting. Is that right? Or is that voting nodes?
What do you mean?
So just talking about, moving towards a proof of stake. So if someone wants to change the network, would it be based on the nodes?
Oh, in proof of work, yeah, the nodes and miners signal to which version of the code that they want to run, either the existing.
Whereas a proof of stake, it's I've got 80% of the coins, therefore I'm going to have 80% of the votes.
Yeah. So yeah, basically it's your vote, and we do whatever you say. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the whole point of why they want to approve proof of stake, so they can manipulate the currency, make it worthless or make it controlled. So going into the kind of conspiracy theorists, but actually, truly why they want it is proof of stake. So as we've covered numerous times, we've got renewable energy instead. So personally, I don't really care what Senator Palpatine says. And I just think it's all a ploy just to get control of the network.
Yeah, because their simple line, right? It's I love they've got like this little 1.5 minute video that we've linked to in the notes. It's from the WEF, which I must admit, Dr. 10%, a couple of times I think you might have been tricked by the parody account that is called like the World Economic Forum. That is actually a parody. And
I shared it knowing, because I find it hilarious.
Oh, okay. Occasionally I thought, does he think that's real? Because like they call themselves exactly what these guys do, but
I like the tweets. I did spot it because I was like, I remember double reading the first one, going, what? And then I went, oh, it's a parody.
Yeah, because they actually they say the standard line, like the marketing line, then say the truth under it, and you're like, hold on, like they're not supposed to say the truth bit, only the marketing bit. But yeah, this is them putting out a tweet where it's a little 1.5 minute video, and I love the way they pitch it, right? Where they go that Bitcoin's really bad for the environment. It could, on its own, up the whole temperature of the globe by 2 degrees, which is pulled completely out of their ass. It's just, where did you get that number from? Like, they're making it up. And they've gone, and with one simple code change, all that could be solved. Just move Bitcoin from proof of work to proof of stake. And you go, oh, right. So basically take out the entire guts of Bitcoin, rip it out, throw it on the floor, and with its empty shell, go, this is Bitcoin. And fundamentally, all you've done really is given Bitcoin to the government now and gone, oh, now they can control it. Now they're okay with it. But they're going, oh, it's not about control. It's all about the environment. You're like, nice try.
So on the link on that tweet, it goes to the WEF, weforum.org. Is that a Bitcoin link, or is that actually something to do with the WEF?
It should just go to the tweet. What do you mean?
So if you go onto the tweets, there's a learn more.
Oh, okay.
And what I didn't understand this is it's got that chart about halfway down of tumble dryers, the fact that we should be fighting tumble dryers. And if you look at it, actually in the stats, so it's got was it terawatts in 2020? So domestic tumble dryers, so this is based on US stats, take up 108 terawatts. Yep. Bitcoin globally takes up 62 terawatts. So the amount of tumble dryers in the US is higher than the whole global usage of Bitcoin. That is a brilliant stat. And that's why I went, is this a Bitcoin link, or is this actually the WEF link?
Yeah, because this is the WEF forum. Yeah. I actually didn't click the link, and I can't believe they debunked their own thing in their own
article. Literally, they debunked their whole statement with that one chart in the middle of the page.
That's amazing.
And like, I was just sitting there kind of scratching my head out. Before I set up this morning, I was reading this article, kind of going, is this like a parody? Is it, is this actually a Bitcoin link? Is that account on Twitter a parody? No. So we got domestic refrigeration, great, because it makes sure that food can be stored longer, therefore less waste. 630. So we look at that, that's domestic. So Bitcoin for a worldwide network is a tenth of the American fridge power. That's brilliant.
One of your, like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago pods, when you likened the global warming element to the FUD, that because it's obviously the common thing we talk about, but likened it to the tumble dryers is beautiful, because I've got a background in working in nuclear medicine, and you always have to liken it to something that people can relate to, and tumble dryers is exactly that. So
but it was
it's beautiful,
it was Bitcoin's response to the FUD. Like, this chart, I'm pretty sure was put together by a Bitcoiner.
It was.
So the fact is, we look at this again and we go air conditioning and electric fans. So cooling down in the US alone. So you think US is a big country, parts of it are fucking cold, but parts are really hot. So parts which are really hot have to have air conditioning. How environmentally friendly is air conditioning if it's taking 2,000 terawatts? So that is what roughly about, no, it's over 15-fold the amount which the global Bitcoin network takes just for the US.
Yeah, on that note, on similar things, like my day job is doing some projects, and there's a sustainability thing that's going through the NHS now, which is like getting LED lights to make them cheaper and less carbon neutral or whatever it is. But the same breath, they're saying you need to put a certain amount of air changes into every room, so you need to have these massive AHUs going on the roof. It's exactly the same as that.
Yeah. So 15-fold, it's a global. So we got Bitcoin. So we'll go for the use of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a pure money, a sound money, hard money, whatever you want to say, which is non-inflationary, which governments can't control, which means that you sustain the amount which you have either in savings or earnings. So that's the whole premise of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has its use to stop governments pushing people into poverty. Air conditioning is a convenience for most. It's unless it's got an industrial use. So the fact that that's 2,000 and Bitcoin is 62 says it all. Why are you chasing after Bitcoin when air conditioning could be sorted out first?
Yeah, it's hilarious as well, because I must admit, I saw that link. I didn't even bother clicking it because I knew it went to a WEF website. But the video compares Bitcoin's energy usage to more than Denmark. But
it's usually Sweden, isn't it?
Yeah, they normally use Sweden. It's weird. But yeah, I don't know where Sweden went. Maybe they got kicked out of the club once they didn't lock down, and now it's Denmark. But yeah, when you click through to the article, it compares Bitcoin to tumble dryers only in America, and we're less. And it goes, there you go. Instead of picking a tiny country with like 1 million people in it, how about we compare to something realistic that people can actually comprehend?
I want to
put it to tumble dryers. You go, right. And what the thing is, like, also, yet again, this video, yet again, it conflates the fact that, Bitcoin has 200 million users now and uses X amount of energy. If it goes from 200 million people to 8 billion, then it's going to exponentially keep using more energy. That is factually incorrect. Bitcoin doesn't cost energy per transaction. It just costs energy to secure the network. You can do 1,000 times more transactions on the Bitcoin network. The amount of energy used could be the same. And they are playing the same game of going, no, we think this goes up exponentially along with the growth curve of acceptance of Bitcoin. And it fundamentally doesn't. And I think they know that, but they're lying in their little video. It's a categoric lie.
And also, it does go up exponentially. Then the cost is going to go up because there's going to be so many people competing. So they're going to need massive hash rate. So therefore, they'll move to renewables, or rather a cheap way well, I suppose wasted energy or renewables, a cheap source of lost energy. So we've covered this, on the burn-offs of gas, which people have been trying to utilize at oil fields. The hydro dams, I think there's a really famous one in Canada, which is too far away from civilization to actually be used, but the Canadian government spent billions on making it. Stuff like that. If you have waste energy at a hydro dam, it goes nowhere because it's usually too far away from the grid.
Yeah, exactly. It's
another thing I heard the other day. I was talking to someone, and they were telling me about how they have solar panels and stuff like that. But they were saying the limitation is they've got a Tesla battery. Actually, the limitation is the battery and it's wasted energy. So basically, you get it all through the day, and you can't use it at night unless you charge batteries ultimately and then use them through the day. But again, how you build a battery, isn't it? So it's quite funny. And then the same person's built or paid money into a wind farm, which hasn't been built yet. I wonder if it's a scam.
You mean a wind farm which needs fossil fuels in order to be made?
Exactly.
I listened to a great podcast the other day where they basically went, there's certain towns and stuff that are trying to go completely renewable. But the problem is with renewables, or even renewable, right, is a loaded term. It suggests that one is good and one isn't. But they're basically moving to solar and wind. But the problem is you can't guarantee it isn't always going to be sunny. And if it isn't sunny, it's going to be windy. So what you have to do is keep the backup, which is the oil and coal kind of power station. And power stations are super expensive to shut down and start up again. So essentially, you don't start them up and shut them down again. You start them up and you keep them going. So what essentially was happening is the power station was creating all the energy for the town anyway, but they weren't using it for half the time. They were using solar and wind. So the power station was just releasing the energy kind of into the atmosphere and going, fuck it, no one wants it. And then when it wasn't sunny, it wasn't rainy, or wasn't windy, they would give them the energy from the power station to make up the gaps. But essentially, all you've really done is damage the environment more, because the power station is still there, still running at capacity because they have to, because they can't shut it down, can't start it up. It's not a freaking toy car. This is a massive freaking thing that is very expensive and very dangerous to start up and shut down. All you've done is created a load of solar panels out of a load of natural minerals, a load of wind farms, again, out of natural minerals that have been dug out of the ground, all have like 10, 20-year life cycles and got to be churned out and replaced. There's no way to recycle these things. They're just freaking go into landfill. So in reality, this green city, all they had done is damage the earth more. It's kind of insane. And I used to be a fan of this. It's kind of what got me into Tesla. And this is like part of my awakening when I got into Bitcoin and realized, like, Jesus Christ, how many things are they lying about? And then when you really dig into this energy stuff, you go, it sounds great in principle, like putting solar panels. And I must admit, I am still a fan of solar panels. I'm going to get some myself, but I am not getting it to save the planet. I'm getting it because I don't want to rely on the grid. So I'm assuming the grid goes off at some point. And when that is off, I'm off. And I don't want that to be the case. I want to have some energy some of the time that is 100% reliant on me. I know that is damaging the planet, and I don't give a flying fuck. I just want cement when it's sunny. So
I like it.
Should we end on our two light-hearted stories of the week after that freaking WEF bashing?
Yeah.
Should we go into shitcoin corner?
Oh,
Let's do it.
Everyone loves a shitcoin.
Go on. Who wants to intro it? I'm not doing it.
I don't think I really understand the core concept of yield farming, but it's a CEO of a crypto exchange. So he seems really young. I can't remember what his name was off the article. I think he's about 30 years old. And the interviewer is asking him various comments, and he just goes on one and talks through a yield farm. And the fact is, I think he says somewhere along you dress up something. I think he said X, so it looks like it's life changing. And then people think it's got value. You throw some more money in, so it looks like it's inflating. And basically, it sounds just like a giant rug pull. So it's like everyone believes that it's getting better and better, so they throw money in. But the fact is that the money seems to be theirs. But then I think he then does a bit of a U-turn right at the end when he said, "Oh, you just don't understand money," something along those lines. Yeah. But I also did think when I was listening to it, I was like going, "Is he a Bitcoiner?" And he just knows that all the crypto is a pile of shit, but he's still going to make money as running this exchange.
Oh, right. So you thought he was literally just scamming, like lying, basically.
Yeah, I think he may just be a scammer, and he's actually a Bitcoiner because he's just like, he seemed to understand what was going on. He wasn't even pretending. It's just like, it's a crock of shit. Morons buy it because they see number go up.
Yeah. There's a great comment because you've linked to a YouTube video, yeah, and it is the CEO of the FTX exchange, which is one of the biggest exchanges, right? And he gets brought on to go, we think crypto is a Ponzi. Tell us why not. And he pretty much then goes on for the next couple of minutes to describe a Ponzi and go, you can just create something out of nothing, get people to buy it. If they think it's going to be worth something, they can just, more people are going to buy it. And eventually, he literally described a Ponzi scheme. And the guys that were interviewing him are proper like fraudsters. They don't believe in crypto. They definitely don't believe in Bitcoin. So they were just amazed that this guy had came on and just pretty much agreed with them and went, what the hell? This guy's meant to be going, no, these projects are going to change the world and stuff. And he pretty much just went, no, provided you market it right and people think there's value, you should at least be able to get a $20 million valuation. You go, what companies fight tooth and nail to be worth 20 million? Why can you just randomly make a crypto worth that? And there's a comment that is just great, which I absolutely love, right? It's called The Big Short. Why are they confessing? They're not confessing, they're bragging. And that is it. That is literally what this interview is, I think. I think this is like in The Big Short, where they go and expose the mortgage brokers that are selling shit mortgages wrapped up in other shit mortgages and then pretending they're a class A when really they're a class C and selling them as class A's. They're not confessing anything. They're not confessing fraud. They're not confessing running a Ponzi scheme. They're bragging about how much money they're making and how easy it is to make money. And I think that's what he went on and did. I think he went on and bragged about how easy it is to make money in crypto. And without realizing it, confessed that this entire thing is a massive scammy Ponzi scheme where people promise the world and don't deliver anything.
We know this. We know about NFTs. We know about shit coins. We know about all these different DeFi bits. But everyone's like, well, yeah, it could be the next big thing. It's like, it isn't. And I think, this has all happened on the tail end of Bitcoin. So everyone's got, oh, it's an online money. It's a digital money. We must follow. We must replicate it. And they've just produced some half-baked ideas. Everyone's jumped in, hoping it's going to be the next Bitcoin. That's just fundamentally what it is. It's just a whole load of shit. And we discussed it earlier, the fact that, Bitcoin, the whole purpose is, it is a currency. It's a perfect currency which controls the government. It gets it in check rather than the government controlling you and making you poorer year on year.
Do you genuinely think he's a Bitcoiner then? Because
I do wonder whether whether he's actually a Bitcoiner and he just goes, fuck it, I'll scam everyone because they're stupid.
Yeah, know the game, but I think you declassify yourself as that though.
Yeah, but it's weird though, because the problem is, like, even if he was like, because the thing is, right, he is an owner of an exchange, right? So as we discussed earlier, like, why Revolut promoting shitcoins is because they make money in the fees, right? So he obviously makes money in the fees. So he is going to promote not just Bitcoin, he's going to promote shitcoins. He's going to try and support them in some shape or form. The problem is, and like why the interviewers are so confused when he's answering, is he's answering in a way that goes, yeah, it's a Ponzi. And they're like, hold on, you're supposed to say these are genuine projects that are going to grow and change the world. That's what you're supposed to say. Like, and that's what your party line is. That's why you sell them. he's pretty much going, nah, it's just a Ponzi, get in early, hopefully loads of people buying after you, then you dump on them. Dude, you're not meant to say that. You're like, you're revealing the answer. You're meant to pretend these shit coins actually are valuable and gonna change the world in decentralized finance in some shape or form, in this whole yield farming bollocks that they say. Which is basically fiat, by the way. So let's go into yield farming super quick. All it means is, say you put £1,000 into some yield farming, and they say you're going to get 10% more. You get 10 grand of their shitcoin. You get 10% more of their shitcoin every year, 100% guaranteed. But guess what? The supply went up by more than 10%. So did you make or lose money? You clearly lost money. So it's the same as fiat. Like, fiat is fucking yield farming, if you want to call it that. It's so, like, yield farming is not a real thing. Like, you're not really gaining. Like, yield farming is only genuinely yield. Like, if you could yield farm Bitcoin, for example, with a scarce supply and a finite amount, then it's genuine. If I could put my Bitcoin somewhere and get 10, 20% yield, then that would be valuable, because I know I'm getting more and more of the 21 million Bitcoin. I'm getting it. But if I have a coin that I'm getting 10%, but it's going up by 15% every year, I'm losing value. But dumbasses think, I'm getting 10% more coins, bruh. Like, have fun, Sample.
So I can get more money if I use yield farming.
I'm going to do yield farming.
Fuck's sake.
I remember it was funny, right? On Twitter, somebody said something stupid, and I wrote, "Open dem eyes, bruh." And I wrote DEM for dem, and the guy just replied, going, I don't understand Bitcoin. I don't watch mainstream media. I don't get it, and I think you mean them." THEM. Fucking hell. Have fun staying poor.
I'd be like, suck them balls, bro.
That's what oh, amazing. Does that move us on nicely to the next bit?
Yeah, which you've put on weirdly. So introduce it.
Yeah.
What the fuck's this on here for?
Well, I hear you banging on about dumb money every week for the last 52 weeks, and I saw some dumb money today. £7 million of fiat dumb money went on a shirt that was worn by some bellend in 1986, who used his hand to score a goal against England. £7 million someone's paid for it. 7 million.
But you know what? I'm a fan of this. I'm fine with it.
It's art, basically, but it's dumb money.
The thing is that, right? So, yeah. Well, is it dumb? I don't know. I would say the guy that probably end up paying for this, this is what he paid for a holiday. So it's dumb if all you've got is 7 million to buy Diego Maradona's shirt that he did the hand of God with. If all you've got is 7 million and you put it all into this shirt, then yeah, it's dumb money. If you've got 7 billion and 7 million is just nothing to you, and you want to hang this up on your wall and it's in your pool room and it's next to a couple of other shirts, then I think this is fine, because what I have a problem with, right, is fake scarcity. This is real scarcity. This is a moment in history. There's only probably a couple of big moments in football that really stand out, that if you ask any football fan, they will 100% know what you're talking about. And the whole hand of God moment is one of them. And to have his shirt is definitely got value. Is it 7 million? Well, not to me. I wouldn't pay that, but I'm not rich enough to afford it. That's why I wouldn't pay it. So others would, and someone has. Now, what I have a problem with when it comes to NFTs is they will create a random JPEG that they created in 10 minutes and go, there's only 3 of them, and shove them online. You go, well, there's only 3 of them because you fucking decided there's only 3. You could have put 33, 3,003, 3 million and 3. Like, it's just, there's no end to the scarcity. It's just whatever you fucking decided.
We had a prime example of this. Like, we've gone about the fake scarcity for weeks and weeks, and we had what's a frog from 4chan called?
Oh, Pepe.
Yeah, I remember that. There's that one where someone bought a rare, unique Pepe NFT for like $500,000 or something. And then the person was like, "Oh, great." And he produced like 60 more of them.
Yeah. Yeah, like a week later, yeah.
I get what you say though about the shirt having true scarcity, but does it have value? Does it have a resale value?
Well,
Is it going to hold its wealth? I
Who
don't
cares?
think it is.
I honestly don't think the guy that brought it gives a fuck. That's also another differentiator, right? So another differentiator, if you're buying artwork or like sports memorabilia, most people that buy that stuff. So for example, like my birthday was only a couple of months ago. I got a signed shirt from a Liverpool football player from Istanbul win. I have no intention of ever selling that. That is just an item that I would value. It has an amount of scarcity to it because the actual player signed the shirt and all that type of stuff. I know I paid a premium over and above the shirt and what I could have done myself, but I'm buying that as an item that I value as a fan of that football team. I'm not ever thinking about, is it going to hold its value and I'm going to sell it or whatever. It's just not a thing. And I don't think the guy that bought this shirt gives a fuck what he sells it for. I think he's so fucking rich. He's just done it to shove it up in his pool room and go, "That's Maradona's shirt from the hand of God." And you don't think he cares.
The weird thing is, it's the way they've shown it. It's been presented in this big box where it's currently living in like a big air-conditioned room, and it's just not even on a wall. It's gonna be like literally centerpiece of a room.
Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's daft. It's like having it literally looks like the crown jewels.
Yeah,
on a mannequin in a box. Yeah, dumb money. But there's lots of it out there, which is the point in this time. But then again, like you say, if he was stupidly rich, then it's not dumb money. I guess it's just
I must admit, the problem with like sports memorabilia and like high art, the people that are buying that stuff are the people that can afford it. You haven't got plebs like taking out loans and buying 20 grand fucking paintings, hoping that they can flip it for 50 grand in a couple of years. But in NFT land and shitcoin land, you do. You have plebs that are worth less than 5 grand, but somehow scraping together 20 out of various debts and loans, buying some random shitcoins or NFT like JPEGs on the blockchain, hoping that they can flip them for more. And that's when it becomes predatory and degenerate. When you get to the top end of this stuff, like sports memorabilia and paintings selling for hundreds of millions, come on, we're just walking into billionaire games here. This is just, it's just silly. You can't really, like, the money obviously is always silly because there's only 1,000 people on the planet that can ever buy any of these things. And they're just buying them amongst each other. And it's just silly. So the money is always kind of crazy and it looks silly, but in their games they laugh about this stuff. It's not even a problem.
Do you know who the guy was that sold? Actually, it was the guy that swapped his shirt with Maradona in the tunnel after the game.
Oh wow.
I wonder how much Maradona got for his shirt.
Yeah, well, fair play to that guy then. If anything, it's a good story then. I'm happy that the guy that swapped that shirt made 7 million quid.
Yeah,
because fair play to that guy. He's held on to it for a long time as well.
The question: he's a hodler.
Actually, did he actually sell it or does he die and then his kids sold it?
I reckon he died, didn't he?
No,
what was 86, wasn't it?
I think he's still alive. So what's 86? It's 35 years ago, and he's probably mid-20s then. So he's around about 60 now.
Probably dead. Probably got COVID.
He's probably have an immense retirement now.
Died of the jab.
Shitloads of cocaine.
Yeah, it's probably doing snow angels.
If you're gonna die selling Maradona's shirt, it has to be of a cocaine overdose.
Banter.
All right, boys.
Yeah, it's been quality. Cheers, Vice, for the invite back. I don't know if I get another one, but we'll see, won't we?
We'll have to get Sir Never Look back because I didn't realise he wasn't joining. So I messaged the group, but I was just like, no response. Because I was like, are we meant to be on this? Because he did say something to me. But yeah, he's on the Raz. The work hasn't gone on late.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, what a bastard.
Season 2, out of a bang.
Boom.